Okay, you guys, I'm going to show you 17 different types of 22 ammo that I have. And I did have this ammo before COVID and the riots and all that kind of stuff. So I've always believed in having a good collection and also having stuff, that I can test in my Browning Buckmark and my rifles and stuff like that. So I have stickers on some of these boxes that represent the foot-pounds of energy and the muzzle velocity in my 5-inch barrel in my Browning Buckmark. But some of these I don't have crony results and energy results, but most of them do. So I'm going to show you the package and the bullet itself that's in it. But we're going to start off with these. I probably won't show you the bullet that's in here, but this is 325 rounds of 40 grain Federal match, auto match. And this is really good ammo because it's got a good velocity, but it's subsonic and the Buckmark, and also it's lead, so it doesn't have that copper plating on it. So this is much better for your barrel. So this is what I use for drills and stuff like that in practice. But hopefully that'll come back. 325 round box here of auto match Federal. 40 grain, by the way. Okay, and then we have shot shell number 12. So here's shot shell number 12, 1,000 feet per second, it's saying. Now that's probably going to be slower in the Buckmark. And then here's what it looks like right here. And the focus might be off. Hopefully it's not too bad. So there's that there. Next one is 40 grains. This one is Browning Premium Performance. And this here is a hollow point load. And let me show you the bullet here. So you can see that one's copper plated too. Excuse the dogs in the background. And let's see, the next one we got is Cci. Oh, hold on a sec. Let me go back, guys. I want to show you the Browning one. And the velocity. Don't forgive the dogs in the background if you guys hear dogs. So I'm getting 1150, 117 foot-pounds of energy out of this one. And 117 foot-pounds of energy, I mean, this is getting into 32 ACP territory going through my Buckmark 5-inch barrel. So there's that round right there. And I've got stickers and tags on here so I can tell which is the velocity and stuff like that. The next one we got is Cci. And this Cci is 40 grains. And it's going 1042 feet per second at 96 foot-pounds of energy. And there it is there. So that's Cci. And the next one we got is Calibra. Calibra round. This is a really lightweight round here. Low velocity. This one here is 20 grains. And in my Browning Buckmark, it's going 350 feet per second at 5.44 foot-pounds, or somewhere around there. And then rifles, this one is very, very quiet. But there's what it looks like. Okay. The next one is Calibra in 30 grain. This one here happens to be the Super Maximum. And the Super Maximum is 30 grains, and it's 100 foot-pounds and 1,225 feet per second out of my Browning Buckmark. And you can see it's got a flat top on it. So this one here, 100 foot-pounds out of the Browning Buckmark. So there's that one. Okay, and the next one is Cci Standard Velocity, which works great in my buckmark. Very good, even though it's a little lower velocity. 955 feet per second, so we're subsonic, and it's 80 foot-pounds of energy for this one in my buckmark. So that, once again, is Cci Standard Velocity. Okay, and the next one is Velocitor. This one here really does well too, because as you can see, it's 1150 feet per second out of my buckmark, and I'm getting 117 foot-pounds of energy. So we're kind of getting into the 32 ACP energy territory with this one here. And this one is a hollow point, by the way. I'm just showing you guys the bullets so you can see for yourself if they're hollow point or not. So there's that one. Velocitor. Or by the way, the ballistic coefficient and stuff like that, even though this is slower than the Stinger, by the time it gets down to 100 yards, it has more energy, and it's a more powerful round than the Stinger. And that's just because of the weight, because you're pushing a heavier bullet, and it's got a better ballistic coefficient. So this Velocitor is actually really good for the 100-yard shooting and energy. So the next one, you guys might have figured, is actually the Stinger. So this one right here is 1,246 feet per second at 110 foot-pounds of energy. So this one's coming out pretty fast. I have achieved over 1,250 feet per second in a string on my Crony before. So 1,246, 1,250 feet per second. So out of the Browning buckmark, this is breaking the sound barrier. A sound barrier in my state and my altitude and humidity is probably around 1125 feet per second. So this thing is buzzing above the sound barrier, even in a 5-inch barrel. And the same thing with the Velocitor. Same thing. So there's that one there, and I'll show you the Velocitor again. This one's breaking the sound barrier by just a little bit, by 25 feet per second. There we go. And that's a 40 grain. That's amazing that's breaking the sound barrier being a 40 grain bullet. So it's really impressive. It's a really impressive round. Okay, so after that one, we got 40 grain, 22 CCI. This is called Quiet 22 CCI. And this one here is 40 grains. And it's going 496 feet per second in my Browning buckmark at 21.85 foot-pounds. And 21.85 foot-pounds, just to let you guys know, is about the same as a high-powered 177 break barrel air rifle, a Magnum, high-powered. So even though this is a 22 bullet and it's slower, it's got the heavier weight and it's going 500 feet per second, it still matches like your high-velocity spring piston air rifle. So it's still no joke, but just to let you guys know, it's about the same as a Magnum 177 air rifle, or even a 25 caliber break barrel air rifle. But yet it's only going through a 5-inch barrel on the Browning buckmark. So that's just something to let you know to compare it to air guns. So there's that one there. Okay, and the next one is 29 grains. And this one is called the CB Short by CCI. And the velocity in the Browning buckmark with this one is 496 feet per second and 15.85 foot-pounds. Now what I had to do to load this in the buckmark magazine is when you load them one at a time. You can't load the whole magazine, but you just put in one in the magazine at a time. And what you do is you push it just a little forward like that, and then it feeds really good and it shoots good. But once again, you're not going to have the slide come open because it's too weak of a round. So you'll manually pull the slide back and get it out of there. But these are kind of fun to test. So 15.85 foot-pounds is about your typical break barrel air rifle energy, but yet we're shooting 29 grain bullet out of a 5-inch Browning buckmark pistol. So that's just for your information. Okay, and the next one we got is segment 37 grain Winchester. Now the way this round works is when the bullet hits it splits off in 3 different pieces, so it explodes, and so it's 4 pieces that are traveling through. So this one here did break the sound barrier, 1150 feet per second, 108 foot-pounds in my Browning buckmark. And we'll show you the bullet. So we'll show you the bullet there. There you go, Winchester. So that one might it might not penetrate too far for self-defense, but it'll explode. So that might be something to test, and people have tested that one online before. So next one we got is 45 grain Subsonic here. And I think what this was meant for was probably some rifles, I think, because this is for plinking and suppressors. 981 feet per second, 96 foot-pounds. It's a 45 grain bullet, so it's going to have a better ballistic coefficient than some of the lighter 22 rounds. So don't let the slow speed fool you. It's still a heavy load, and it'll retain energy a lot longer than, say, your 30 grain bullet. Even though it's slow, and it's probably going to have a lot of drop because it doesn't have that flat trajectory. But still, 981 feet per second at 96 foot-pounds of energy, 45 grains. So there's that one. The next one's going to be kind of similar to that. And specifically says suppressed on it, which is Winchester. This one here, which says Winchester suppressed on it, 45 grain. Black copper plated round nose. And the velocities on this one are probably going to be similar to the other one I showed you. 980 feet per second, 950, somewhere around there in the Browning buckmark, maybe even slower. But 2 different Winchester brands, but the same bullet weight. But yeah, let me show you this one here. So we're looking at probably 100 foot-pounds in the Browning buckmark for this one. So there it is. Okay, so the suppressed one, and the next one is just kind of like your down-home Federal, your basic hollow point Federal, copper-plated, 38 grain. Copper-plated hollow point, and this one happens to be, I don't have a Crony measurement on this one, but I'm sure it's probably going to be subsonic or below the speed of sound. But here it is here, 38 grain, copper-plated hollow point by Federal. These are pretty basic. We used to find these everywhere, but now they're no longer available. I can't find them anywhere. But like I said, there are some 22 long rifle boxes that I can find in other stores, different brands, but this one happens to be gone for now. So there's that one, 38 grain copper plated hollow point. The next one is 40 grain match Federal. This is premium match. Federal premium match, 40 grain. Very, very accurate in the Browning buckmark. 99.26 foot-pounds at 1057. So it's going quick, but it's just under the sound barrier. So it says 1,200 feet per second for the rifle, but my buckmark is 1057. And the sound barrier is about 1125 in my state. So this is staying below that sound barrier so that it can maintain that accuracy and not have that turbulence that happens when rounds go from sound barrier speeds down to subsonic. There's some turbulence that happens and things that change in the trajectory and usually lose accuracy. So here's this one here. Now these ones are very accurate, but they're kind of similar to the Federal. These ones right here, these are lead 2, the Federal auto match, 40 grain. And they're kind of like, you can kind of think of them as the same bullet, but this one is just a little bit more accurate. And when I do my tests, I usually do 10-shot tests for bullets, because a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll just shoot like 3 or 4, up to 5 rounds, on a dirty barrel that had shot another bullet type. And that's not the way to do an accuracy test. When you do an accuracy test, the first thing you do is you clean that barrel. And then what you do is you do several sets of 5 or do 10-shot groups. You want to make sure you use a lot of bullets to confirm that accuracy, because if you just take 5 of each of these bullets and do an accuracy test, that's really not the way to do it, because what you're looking for is consistency. And after a clean barrel, you're going to know that some barrels like to be leaded and some barrels don't, depending on the diameter of the bullet and different things like that. So you have to do a really good test when you're doing an accuracy test. I would do the whole box. So I would do, comparing all of these, I would do whole boxes, because you're cheating yourself not knowing the real accuracy of your firearm when you only fire 5 shots of this one, 5 shots of that, 5 shots of that. And you might have a clean barrel on this one, but then you're not being fair with this one by having a dirty barrel. So always start with a fresh, clean barrel. Now remember, your first shot out of a clean barrel is going to go a little wild because it's not used to, it hasn't deposited hardly any lead in there. So after firing a few shots, you're going to deposit a little bit of lead on the lands and grooves, and then it's going to kind of like season the barrel. When the barrel gets seasoned by doing, several shots of 5, like 5 sets of 5 or something like that, you're going to know the true accuracy of this bullet compared to, say, this one, or this one. So that's what you need to do with your tests. So the last one now is a really good round for rifles that I like, but it's real accurate in pistols too, is this one right here. This one is the Federal Hunter match. And this one's a 40 grain hollow point. And this one here, I think it's I don't know about the coating or anything. It doesn't say anything about the coating, but I was thinking it would be like a black copper type coating, but it's lead, actual lead coating. Okay, so it's just lead, just plain old lead hollow point. But the thing about these is that they seem to be very accurate, and they were designed for hunting. And I've never tried them in the buck mark on soft objects and things like that, and water bottles. But we're looking at 1057 feet per second, 100 foot-pounds. So it's just under the sound barrier, and it's lead. So you're not going to worry about running so much copper through your rifle barrel in your Browning buckmark. And another thing I want to tell you guys is that, a Browning buckmark, just a standard type, like some of you guys have different barrels that you use for matches and stuff like that. If you're just an owner of a Browning buckmark and stuff like that, and you're just doing some shooting and some defense drills and different things like that, you have to understand that copper-plated bullets aren't the best thing to shoot through it, because that copper kind of burns out your rifling over time a lot more than just lead. And the other thing is, it's not good to rapid fire semi-autos. I mean, a 22, if you needed to in a defense situation, you could rapid fire it, and you should try your defense ammo, and you should do rapid fire. But you shouldn't constantly be doing rapid fire with these pistols, because the Browning buckmark's an accurate pistol. And what you're doing when you rapid fire is the throat right in here. Imagine that this bullet is inside the chamber. Right in the throat, there's lands and grooves that make contact with this lead part here, right about in this area here. And what happens is you burn out the front part of the land and grooves by constantly rapid firing the pistol as it gets hot in there. Believe it or not, 22 pistols do get hot also. And it doesn't matter how thick the barrel is if it's a bull barrel. It's just a law of physics. If you keep going bang, 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 bang with one of these rounds, you're going to wear out your rifling, and your pistol is not going to be as accurate as it once used to be. Now, in a defense situation, like I said, you can practice doing mag dumps and stuff, but then once you've found out what your defense load is and that it's very reliable and it goes bang every time, and we know that rimfire sometimes has failures, but you can practice, your failure drills on 22s also, so it's not a big deal. But after you've figured out your defense load and what you want to carry, if you are carrying a 22, and you've run some rapid fire drills just to make sure that you could do a mag dump and that it would work properly, you want to go back to shooting your 22 pistol, just normal, not rapid fire, just doing target practice and going for accuracy and stuff like that. Because when it comes to a mag dump with the 22 pistol, you're going to be on target, so you're not going to have to worry about accuracy. So you don't have to train all the time for mag dumps and stuff like that. Now, if you're plinking, what I suggest if you're plinking is give the barrel a little bit of time. Take a shot, wait a couple seconds. Don't just keep going bang, 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 like that. Especially if you're going to be carrying a 22 for defense, because you want all the accuracy you can get out of that pistol. And I love accuracy, and I protect accuracy in all of my handguns. And I make sure I'm not too hard on them and running them hot. Now, my Glock, for instance, I can switch out barrels and I can buy new barrels and stuff like that. But it's harder for some other pistols to just go get a barrel. 22 Buckmark, you have to buy the barrel and stuff, and you have to put it on, and sometimes they're not as available as people think they are, and sometimes they can get quite expensive just for the barrel, extra barrel that you can attach onto it. So that's one reason why I like to preserve. It doesn't matter whether it's my Glock or my 22 Buckmark. I like to preserve my rifling. I don't like to beat on my firearms too much. I mean, yeah, you can put it through a torture test and stuff like that, but the same guys that put handguns through torture tests won't do the same thing with their vehicle. They won't pull the plug out of the bottom of their oil pan and run their truck, a couple hundred miles just to make sure it's reliable running without oil, right? You don't see them doing that to prove that their truck or whatever is one of the best trucks, because they've torture tested it and they found that it can run X amount of miles on no oil at all in the tank. Well, that's what they're doing. They're being stupid with firearms. They're burning them up. And in a normal defense situation, if you fire a few rounds of this, it's going to be over with. Most confrontations and self-defense situations are only probably 3 to 5 rounds. So nobody's torture testing in a real defense situation a pistol. So there's no reason to torture test a pistol. The only thing you should do is you should make sure a pistol's reliable, but you don't have to burn the crap out of a barrel and torture test it. That's for things like the Army and other things like that. You're just a person that's going on your way, minding your own business, going to work and back every day. You're not law enforcement. You're not military. I was military, but military and police is very, very different than regular civilians that are carrying every day that defend themselves. There's a big difference between law enforcement and military and the average citizen that just minds their own business, going about their day, defending themselves. And one of the biggest differences is that we don't have to go to trouble, but we avoid trouble. Now, military and law enforcement, they have to go to trouble because that's what they get paid to do. So at the end of the day, they have to put the cuffs on, or they have to go get that suspect or that person in Iraq or wherever they're at on the battlefield. They have to go get that person. And, whereas you and me, we have the advantage of just defending ourselves by firing a few shots and going for cover. We don't have to go towards the gunfire if we don't want to. We could take cover and let law enforcement do their job, and we pretty much just protect the area and just protect ourselves until law enforcement shows up to do their business. But the thing about self-defense everybody has to understand is there's a big difference between law enforcement, military, and just the private citizen. And that's one of the reasons why private citizens are just regular Joes like you and I. I was in the military too, so I know how it is. I can differentiate between law enforcement, military, and a regular civilian. Us as regular citizens, we go about our day and we can avoid conflict. We can stay away from trouble, whereas law enforcement and military, they're paid to go to trouble. And every day, like law enforcement and stuff, they might be doing traffic stops. They might be putting themselves in danger in domestics and stuff where they have to sort out problems where a guy could have a knife or a firearm or something like that. So law enforcement is very, 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 very different from you and I that are just going about our everyday, going to work, stopping by the store, getting a gallon of milk. It's very different. And that's one of the reasons why we can carry small caliber handguns, is because the research shows that it works. Because once again, we're not going into a house and doing a raid. You know, if we're doing something like that, yeah, we're probably going to be 9mm 40 Smith and Wesson and all that. But all we're doing is pretty much shooting, getting to cover, and just staying out of the way. You know, we're just protecting our lives. Whereas law enforcement, military, and stuff like that, they have to go into that stuff, and sometimes they're involved with that every single day, where they can have danger every single day that they're out on the street and stuff like that. So that's something to consider. A lot of people don't talk about that. I know the tactical professor talks about that, and he had been in special forces and things like that. He had talked about one of the problems is that everybody models the police and the military, when in fact that if you're just a normal citizen, you don't have to model that kind of stuff, because of the fact that you're not doing what they do every single day. You're just trying to make it home and get a gallon of milk. You might fire only a couple shots and take cover and call it in. You don't have to go put handcuffs on the guy or anything like that. You just have to stop the threat and get home safe. That's all you have to do, and protect people around you and your relatives and family and stuff like that. So anyway, I kind of got off on a wild rabbit chase here, but there it is once again, federal. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and stuff. I appreciate you guys looking at my videos. So we got 17 different types of 22 for you guys today. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching.